Okay. Good day, everyone. My name is Dr. Juga Junwa. I'm so glad to be here finally with you. I wish to, greet every one of us, especially those that made out time, to come into the meeting earlier today. Apologies, our network had issues at the location where we were, and it was just beyond our control. So I'll go in quickly to talk about the program, what you're going to gain, and the rudiments, the steps to participating and making the most out of it. So today's session is pre-recorded, but tomorrow would come in live. We'll also have the replay for those that will be unavoidably absent. But we encourage you, please make sure you participate, do the tasks. It's not training, it's practical, so we want you to start getting used to the tools, especially the ones we gave you on the program, from ChatGPT to Claude AI and so on. So I would leave the screen to enable us just head straight into our material. Thank you. Okay. So our main focus is that we're going to be using AI, to ensure that we do some of the work that has been eating a lot of our time. So in here is our agenda, AI challenge agenda. It was also pinned inside the WhatsApp group. So I encourage you to go in and access it. I think there are so many others, as you can see on the shared document. So the first step for the challenge is please introduce yourself. We always love to know where our participants are from, because that helps with making sure everybody, starts understanding, exactly what we are doing. In fact, from yesterday's conversations on the group, I saw a lot of us are also actually using AI, but then you may need to, use it, properly to get the types of results you need. So this challenge is not a teaser. It's going to have action things that you're going to be creating spread over 5 days. And we start today, Friday. So please introduce yourself in the group once we unlock the group at 7:30 8 p.m. this evening, Nigerian time. So first step, introduce yourself. The second step, please follow me on LinkedIn, share your results that you're getting, through this challenge. We really want to hear how it is. This is our first debut, and we'd love to hear what it means for you, the results you're getting, and all of that. We want to be in on what you're doing. Then in step 3, you access the challenge workbook. Okay. So I would be sharing the workbook when we are done. I'll share the workbook when we're done so that you see what it actually looks like. But once you access this book, this agenda, it's in there. Then in step 4, participate in person by attending the short online live. So it's not, these lives are not going to be lengthy. They're just going to point you to what you're supposed to do for the day. I think today may just be the lengthiest, and all that. So do the work. And if you do the work up to 50%, optional, you can get a certificate of completion, and we'll talk about that later on. Then in step 5, join our upcoming Work Smart, Earn More, and Lead with AI cohorts. We have 2 cohorts remaining in 2026. One starts August 15th for 6 Saturdays. Then we have cohort 3 that starts September 26th for 6 Saturdays as well. You can join the program on this link over here. Then we have a bonus, an exciting one at that. We have a practice lab for this challenge. It's built on Claude AI, so you need to create an account on Claude AI to access it. So the details are over here. So all the tasks you're going to be doing, you will log into this link, put your first name, and put this code, SMARTER 2026. Now, this would allow you access into the Claude AI the software program for the lab. So once you're inside the lab, this would now enable you to go day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, to complete the short tasks that are over there. And you can also share these tasks as screenshots into the group so that we can see how you're doing with the tasks given. Of course, the tasks you need to share. Then optionally, we also have a create flyer tool that we made on Claude AI as well. So we noticed a lot of people are entrepreneurs, business owners in the group. So this would help you communicate your brand very easily. So you can put in whatever thing you want to design that is a flyer, and it's available to you. So this will be available from Saturday 8 at 3 p.m. West African time. So there is a wait list WhatsApp group over here that you can join, and be able to access that. So we have 3 days free trials so that you can just during the course of this challenge, practice, create images, share what you're doing with the rest of us. Then below are the meeting links. Of course, we've had day 1, so you're going to be looking from day 2. That's the meetings. I think some people were for the meeting links, and we dropped that. So every other day, we'll be dropping each day's meeting link. So watch out for it, prior to the time for the program. I wish to announce that tomorrow we start at 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. West African time. So that is in the morning. Please make yourself available. On Sunday, it will be from 6 to 6:30 p.m. Okay, 6 to 6:30 p.m. for Sunday. And on Monday, it's actually going to be during our lunch hour, because we know Mondays can be busy, 12 to 12:30 p.m. And then on the last day, Tuesday, it will be 6:30 to 7 p.m. So again, if you have any queries while doing this, you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us on this WhatsApp line, +234 908 016 1515 if you have any questions. So we wish you an enjoyable time. I will skip out of here and head back into the meeting to share today's action point. So I would also introduce myself, while doing that. I think I've done that a couple of times on the group, but I'm aware, some people may have joined us, a bit later, like when we had gone, when we were done with the introductions. All right, so let me increase this screen and we go right in. Please remember, at any point where you have questions, you need clarity, please feel free to drop questions in the group. That would help us, attend to your specific need. Okay, so let me quickly share my slide. Okay. So welcome to the 5-day challenge. We're so glad to have you with us, and it's going to be a great one. So be ready to learn, unlearn, and relearn. My name is Dr. Juga Junwa. I'm a project management consultant, speaker, AI literacy trainer, among other things that I do, and an online business coach. So you can find me on LinkedIn, like I mentioned, on this handle, and on Instagram on coach_OJIUGO. So this is just a little about me. I help business owners launch online projects, webinars, summits, courses, books, affiliate launches, challenges, giveaways, and so on, so that you can use proven tech tools, proven strategies to 10x your visibility and attract your ideal audiences. So that's just a little about me. You will know more as we get into it. So I think we've done this introduction in the room, and that's fine. But for the surveys, the polls that we're going to ask questions of, because this is pre-recorded, I'll drop them inside the group, so that as we watch the recording, we can also look at the poll and give our answers. Okay, so if you've not introduced yourself, please, your name, your location, your best generative AI tool is just enough, for us at this moment. Okay, so there is this myth that if you're using AI, you stop using your brain, and I want to, debunk the myth. The truth is that AI augments your efforts. Artificial intelligence will augment your effort. It does not steal your lived experience. Your experience is doing something, and AI does not know that. So you still get to use your magic. And this quote is by me, because I see a lot of people say, oh, if I'm using AI, that means I've stopped using my brain. No, no, you've not stopped using your brain. You're just using it to augment what you're doing. There must always be a human in the loop. So let's take a quick look at these polls. What would you hand off? What repetitive tasks would you love AI to take off you or your team? And we should have done this online, like I said, but we'll just use the WhatsApp group. So please do participate in there. Share your name, 3 repetitive things, 1 to 3 repetitive things you believe you should hand off to AI. So tell us the one also that steals the most time, from you. So for example, mapping your process. If you're a baker in here and you deliver birthday cakes, you need to think about all the steps that you do, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out. What are the steps that are so repetitive that AI can actually handle? So please do drop your answer in the WhatsApp group. Then this second poll says, where does AI already win for you? So what are you using AI to do that saves you the biggest time? So I want you to pick one of this when the poll is dropped: writing and emails, research and summaries, data and spreadsheets, reports and documents, content and social media, customer replies. So I want to see your vote in the WhatsApp group. So this is another poll. The first poll is to identify what repetitive thing that you can hand off to AI that steals the most of your time and that is repetitive. So again, we want to find out, where does AI already win for you? Where does it save the biggest time or resources? These resources could be human resource or financial resource. Then this third poll says, what's your go-to AI tool right now? Is it ChatGPT, Claude, DeepSeek, Manos AI, Gemini, Perplexity, Kimi, Abacus AI? Again, this poll will be dropped right in the group. So please do vote on your tool of choice so that it informs what we would all use, so that we are all on the same level playing field. So another quick poll: is your organization AI ready? Is your organization AI ready? So let's be honest, where does your organization stand as of today? They've not started using AI, you choose 1. They are curious about AI, a few people are experimenting, you choose 2. They're actively using AI, they use it in daily work, you choose 3. And then embedded, 4, means that AI is already in every process and in every strategy. So those are the things we want to find out, so that we are also informed as we work with you. So today, day one is our AI work audit. AI work audit. This is really fast paced, will soon be done in a jiffy. So find the 5 tasks, like we mentioned, that quietly eat your week, and hand one of them to AI before you sleep this evening. So what you would build, a personal automation shortlist and your first reusable prompt. So what is today's challenge? List every task in your week, the major ones. Score each one by how long it takes and how much of your judgment it really needs. Find the highest time, lowest judgment tax. Then build a reusable AI prompt that does it for you and runs it on real work today. So what would you leave with? An automation shortlist and your first hour back. So you can spend the next 20 minutes after you listen to this to practice. So tools for today, will suggest you use ChatGPT, because even from the polls, we saw a lot of people mention that, oh, I use ChatGPT. So this is best for running that audit conversation and answering the questions in plain language. And then Claude would also be used. If you don't have a Claude account, please head over to claude.ai. This is best for thinking through your week clearly and building a clean, reusable prompt. Okay? Then the third tool would be Gemini. Now, if you use Google Gmail and Google Docs, this one would also work for you. But the two, ChatGPT and Claude, would be what we would be using going forward. And then, of course, we'll refer to the others here and there. All of these tools have a free plan, so stick with one and, use it for the challenge. So this is our prompt for today. So you're going to copy paste this prompt. I'll also drop the prompts in the WhatsApp group, so that you can pick the prompt. The first prompt is an audit prompt. So the audit prompt, you're helping me run a time audit of my work week. My job role, you put what your job title is in the brackets. My industry, you put what your industry is in the brackets. My typical week includes, you list the top 6 to 8 tasks that you do week in and week out. And then you're telling AI to ask you 5 questions, one at a time. Then give me a table, the table has tasks, hours spent if it's per week, you can put per week or per month. The judgment needed for that task, is it high? Is it medium? Is it low? And then AI suitability. And then you're telling it to rank which tasks you should hand over to AI first. So why do we not just jump into prompting AI to help us automate our work week? Because we must provide context. When we give it context, then it understands who we are, what we do, where we're having a challenge, and then it speeds up that process for us. So the first prompt is your audit. And then this second prompt is a prompt you will reuse over and over again. I always tell people, when you find good prompts like this, create a prompt bank, use a Google Doc or a Word document, put these prompts in there so that you can reuse them over and over again. So this reusable prompt says, build me a reusable prompt for tax. And we said the tax that is repetitive, is eating your time, is suitable for AI. So you tell it, build me a reusable prompt for that tax. What I start with, you put the input. What I need out, you put the output. Your audience, who reads it? Who reads what the output is? You put the audience. If it is SMEs based in Lagos, Nigeria, you put that in. SMEs based in Kenya, Nairobi, Kenya, you put that in there, and so on. Then use square bracket placeholders for the parts that change each time. Then run it once on this real sample, and then you paste your notes. So each time you're running this reusable prompt for any of the tasks you identified in the audit, please put all the details you need. The more specific you are, the better your result would be. So do this step by step. Open ChatGPT, Claude, or Gemini and create a free account. Then secondly, copy the first prompt, fill in the brackets, send it. Then the third one, answer the questions honestly. Do not rush this part. The fourth one, screenshot the table and note your first task. Then the fifth one, copy prompt 2 for that task. Run it on real work. Then post your audit and your results if you want to share. You're not compelled to share, but remember, it's a challenge. So share something that, is not sensitive organizational information in the group so that we can all learn from each other. So you can submit this between now and the time we start, tomorrow, because tomorrow we'll start at 9 a.m. Okay, so 9:30 a.m. rather. So let's go ahead to do that. So I would come out of here and I'll stop this share and head over to ChatGPT, to do an audit. So I'm going into my ChatGPT to try to do an audit so that you can see what I mean and then take it from there. So let me head over there. Now, this can happen on Claude. It can happen on DeepSeek. It can happen on Abacus AI, Manos AI, Kimi, Perplexity, and so on. But it's also good to think about the tool that you already use, that you're so used to. So I'll try to do this very quickly. Now, we'd also get, I'm sure people would ask for the slides. So we'd also get the slide available to you, so that you can pick the prompt and be able to work with it. So this is ChatGPT, and I'm just in the chat area, nothing major. Remember, this is beginner level, so we're making it as simple as possible to use. So when you come in here, you can either click on write or edit, search the web, create an image, but we're selecting write or edit, and then we'll put in our first prompt, which was the audit prompt, okay? So let's head over there. Okay, just a moment. Let me pick something out. So that first prompt is our audit prompt. So I'm picking that out and I'm coming back into the ChatGPT window. So this prompt will be dropped, like I said, into the group, so that you can be able to see it. Okay, so it says you're helping me run a time audit of my work week, my job title. So I'm going to be putting event planner. Okay. my industry, AI literacy educator. It could be anything for you, okay? My typical week, I'm going to list 6 tasks, so typical week, research, 2, create digital product, 3, test digital product, 4, organize webinars, 5. So I'm just putting in, information that it will now use and, ask me further questions. So I think I will leave it at 4. Yours could be as many as you need. So I will say, ask me, let me say 4 questions, one at a time, then give me a table that answers the questions. How many hours, what the tax is, how many hours I spend per month doing it, judgment needed, AI suitability, and then rank which tax I should hand to AI first. So this is going to be a dialogue, and I just clicked on send prompt. Okay, so on average, it's asking me the first question gradually. On average, how many hours per week do you spend on each of these activities? So I will just drag the information and put the hours beside it. Okay, so I'll paste over here. Number 1, research. I spend 10 hours researching. Number 2, create digital product. I spend 4 hours doing this. So this is just, for class purpose. But of course, I want you to put your real hours spent every other week. So for testing digital products, I'll put 3 hours. Organizing webinars, I would put 12 hours. And then I'll send in the answer. So it's noted my estimates, and it's asking me for each tax in the second question, approximately what percentage requires your personal expertise or final decision, and what percentage is repetitive or procedural. So it has, giving me an example. Research, I'm spending 40% of my time judging the information. 60% of it is repetitive. Now that's an example. So I'm going to go in and feed it my own numbers. So I'm pasting that in there, and I'm just adjusting the numbers. I think it got skewed. So judgment, I would put 50-50. But for this class purpose, I think I would go with 30-70. Then for digital product, my judgment is 60, and then a lot of it, 40% is repetitive. Testing the digital products, my judgment is 20. 80% of it is repetitive. For organizing webinars, my judgment is 30. 70% of it is repetitive. And then I put that in there. So that it says that's very helpful. And it's asking me which of the tools I could use currently for this task. So for question 3, I'm just going in with ChatGPT. Okay. So I'm just going in with ChatGPT. So I'm going to send that in. And question 4, which of these tasks do you enjoy the least or find the most draining? So from these tasks, what I find the most draining is, I think, number 3, digital products, creating it. Now, of course, this could mean anything for you. We're just doing this so that you see exactly how it is. So it says, based on my answer, this is my time audit. I love how it's putting stars on it, so that it's visual. So typically for a 4-week month, my estimated time allocation, I'm spending 40 hours. And the judgment is low. It doesn't need a lot of my input, so it's suitable for AI to help me with the research. Then the second task, create digital products, 16 hours. The judgment call is 60%, AI suitability medium. Testing the digital product, 12 hours every month. Judgment is low. So this is very high. AI can help me with that. Organizing webinars, 48 hours. This is the biggest time, the one that takes a lot of time. And judgment low. AI suitability high, but not very high. So what should I hand off to AI? Now, this will mean different things for each of us in the group, but then look at what it tells you and also use your judgment to know, oh, this one is the one I can hand off to AI. So if research consumes 40 hours and 70% of it is repetitive, ChatGPT can dramatically reduce that time spent on research, summarizing, brainstorming, curriculum development, competitor analysis, and drafting content, and so on and so forth. So let's go down. So estimated time savings is giving me an estimate. So that means please take some time out to think through this and just do it. Okay, so if I hand off, I'm going to be saving 52 to 70 hours every month. That's a huge savings because a 40-hour work week per week times 4 is 160 hours, and I'm going to be saving between 50 to 70 hours. Very massive. So that's the equivalent of 6 to 9 full working days every month. And then I can now redirect my energy to higher value work, such as coaching, strategic partnerships, speaking engagements, or creating premium AI literacy programs. So the biggest opportunity, summarizing that as well, the interesting insight is that the task you dislike most is not the one you should automate first. So because I told it digital product creation, it says it relies on your expertise. So it says the one it can handle that is so repetitive, is research. So that's number 1 for it, and not what I suggested. So this could mean anything, for any of us. So now I'm going to go over to the second prompt and tell it to build me a reusable. So I'm pasting that in there. I'll tell it to build me a reusable prompt for, remember what we are doing, research in my example. It could mean any other thing in your own example. What I start with, so my input, AI adoption pain points for businesses in Lagos Nigeria. So this could mean anything again for you. What I need out of it, the output. So I'll put in my output, a list of a spreadsheet of top 20 pain points of businesses that need to augment their efforts with AI, but some factors are stopping them. Okay, so again, the audience, the person that would read this. So I will say the marketing team at Right Track. That's our organization consulting. Okay, then use square, okay, for the parts that change. So remember, this is a reusable prompt. So you can always, keep reusing it over and over again. Then run it once on this real sample. Okay, so I would, if there are other informations, you can paste, give it more context. But for the purpose of this program, I'm just stopping here. So I want you to, think through your own. Build me a reusable prompt for research. So have you seen what it's doing? It's taking that task that is eating most of my time and is helping me with what I need the most. So I'm going to run that. Beautiful. So it has done a reusable research prompt designed to produce actionable business-ready research rather than generic AI summary. It positions ChatGPT as a market researcher and strategist, for your marketing team. So this is the reusable prompt. Your own could be anything for the task you chose. So the role, you're a senior market, so you give it a role. You're a senior market research consultant, AI strategy advisor, and B2B marketing analyst with expertise in the Nigerian business environment. Your research should be evidence-based, commercially relevant, and practical. Then the objective, research the topic below and identify the biggest pain points that AI can solve. So the research topic was AI adoption pain points for businesses in Lagos, Nigeria. So let's scroll down. The final report is for our consumption, internal consumption. So the objective is it has listed all of that, for that target audience. The deliverable, create a spreadsheet with the 20 pain points. Deliverable 2, the pain points for each pain point include who are the business leaders complaining, typical symptoms, why do companies struggle to solve it, their current workaround that they use, risks, how can generative AI help, and so on. It's giving me the third deliverable, the fourth deliverable, the fifth, and then the research requirements. So use recent information wherever possible. So have you seen it's going to be doing a great job, for me. And instead of burning time, we can use this reusable prompt and get our research done in a jiffy. The output format, sorry, the writing style, I can change anything I don't want, the success criteria, and so on. So what happens is that you go in, and on this pane, you can copy this prompt and paste into your prompt bank. So that's what today's session is all about. Looking at your work week, thinking deeply at whatever you do, how much time you're doing it with, and if it's suitable. So you see, I even suggested testing digital products, and it told me, that one is not suitable. So I would want you to practice. We'll share the prompts in the group. We'll share the polls, the prompts, and the slides. So remember, you also have your workbook and you have your AI lab to practice in. So you have a myriad of places to practice in. Whichever one you love, please go ahead and do so. So thank you so much for listening in, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good night.